In today's video, we are going to build some beautiful little huts for the wonderful Tasmanian Devil. If you want to see how this is all coming together, stick with me throughout the entire episode. I'm going to explain a couple of things, and this is also the second last episode already of the Oceania Island before it's done. And also, I will give you a hint of a little project that I've planned in the background, so to say. So yeah, it's rather good to stick with me throughout the episode. We are going to build a little kind of sanctuary, I would say, for the Tasmanian Devil. We gotta say though that these little animals are very tiny. In general, this pack is really super small when it comes to how much of a space you need for the animals, and I'm still very confused to build small habitats. I'm really not used to that anymore. Planet Zoo normally has a requirement for space that is absolutely insane, but for these tiny animals it's actually relatively okay. So these habitats over here are all pretty much too big when it comes to their obviously their requirement, but you know, it can never be too big, you know. Maybe to maintain that for the zoo, but still these are tiny animals, so it's not really too big. But we are going to use the pieces today in a relatively clever manner. So the main idea I had about this build was to really focus on using the new pieces, but try to use them in a different way. So for example, you can see over here the thatch roof can also be used as like a rotated version of a kind of cool wooden plank roof with these kind of rounded pillars in the middle to hold it up. And it looks like as if we've used a couple of wooden pieces for that, but in fact it's just like 6 or 7 roof pieces. So I think this is kind of cool. I also tried to use the lava rocks, these kind of 4 lava rocks, to create like a little wall piece. I really would love to experiment a little bit further with that, because that was honestly looking pretty good. So putting these together, you can really create a nice little backdrop. But I figured it might actually look a lot better in like underwater areas. Like, I'm not sure why, but these 4 rock lava things have a really cool texture for, yeah, maybe reefs or something like this. I don't know, but because it feels like it's this kind of washed out stone look, but then it has still some texture to it. So it's relatively smooth, but it has texture. So I think it's really cool, and it would work absolutely fine with underwater areas. But yeah, also I wanted to separate this habitat into 2 parts. The one is where the keepers come in and, you know, the animals have their huts and stuff, and then the other side is where the people can actually look a little bit better. I mean, we do have a bit of viewing in this space over here, but I wanted to make it as hidden as possible to grant them also some privacy. And on the other side, people can have a little look. Now, I did also change quite some things off screen, so do not wonder. In the last minutes, you'll see a little cinematic, which is going to be hopefully very interesting for you. This time around, I don't do a real-time part. This is because I have already built further in this project, and I forgot to have a separate save, and so I don't want to spoil you with the last episode. So the last episode is actually kind of crazy. So this is why I used a camera tour in order to make sure that I hide these things that I don't want to show quite yet. But yeah, speaking of the creative use, I figured also this time around we can use some of the temple pieces that are super flexicolor. I love the way the texture has been in the last updates. I have to give a huge props to Frontier. I'm not sure who is in charge there, or for whatever reason they are so good by now, but they really leveled up their game when it comes to texture and flexicolor business. It looks so much better now, and also the different packs are really working together super well right now. To be honest, we have quite a lot of tropical pieces now, so obviously building tropical at this point is a charm, because you have everything you can wish of or you can dream of. You've got Oceania, you've got a tropical, you've got temple pieces from Southeast Asia, you've got Asian stuff anyways, you've got rainforest stuff from South America, so there is a lot of stuff for tropical vibes, and this is for this build specifically over here has been super nice and accessible. But I also figured that in the last 2 episodes I focused a tiny bit too much of the on the Oceania pieces. That, I mean, it's normal because you want to get a grip of the new pieces, and so yeah. Also, speaking of new pieces, I use a very old piece, and that is these climbing things. I believe we got them with the Europe pack. I forgot, but these are actual enrichment items. they started doing a little bit of a reshuffling of the pieces. Some of the normal pieces that were in the scenery tab are now moved into the nature tab, which is just normal and makes sense. But also I feel like these enrichment items they don't really have a function other than that there are climbable pieces, but they're not climbable pieces in terms of the enrichment pieces that are super straight normal logs, but they look like actual branches. So not sure why they are not in the scenery pieces, or why the other climbable rocks that are in the scenery pieces are not in the enrichment tab. It's a little bit confusing at this point, but they did a little reshuffling over there, so maybe they fix that in the future. But as you can see, I'm mixing in quite a lot of plants that we already had in the game. So a couple of things from the South American pack, a couple of things from the tropical pack, and it just works together super well. It creates this lush feeling for the Tasmanian Devil over here. Even though I went a little bit too tropical for this specific fella over here, I might have done this a little bit more sandy and stuff, but you know what, I just want to keep this island vibe going, and at the end of the day, the animal doesn't really care too much about this, realistically. So, I mean, if you play with everything, the demand on and so on, yeah, then maybe, but I just figured in terms of making this island cohesive and look kind of the same, I went in and did it that way. Yeah, as promised in the last episode, we also needed to make this backdrop working, and I did something that is very typical for realistic zoos. If they want to hide up areas like that, they mostly slam down a lot of bamboo. I just recently visited the Duisburg Zoo in Germany, and maybe just like a little bit of a story about that one. I'm still planning to do a little cinematic vlog about that one, but I haven't been there for ages. Like, I think it was 8 or 9 years that I've been there the last time, and so with the little one, we figured it's about time going there again. And I hope that the zoo is doing a lot better than previously, because it honestly, the last time I have been there 7 years ago, I was super disappointed, almost like a little bit annoyed, because the zoo really didn't age well, and a lot of habitats weren't suitable for the animals in anymore. Actually, really not a great feeling being there. But I have to admit, they did a turnaround. Oh boy, did they do a turnaround. They almost fixed every single habitat, and currently they are working on the brand new African savanna area, because the last habitat I'd say that isn't feasible anymore is the elephant habitat. It's horrible. I really do hope that this is being fixed now. The giraffes are already given away. If I'm not completely wrong, 2 of the giraffes are actually in the Burgers Zoo in the Netherlands for the time being. They will come back to the Duisburg Zoo once the savanna is done. But the giraffe house was empty, and it was used for some antelopes and stuff, and the addax as well. So kind of interesting to see that how they mixed it up. But the reason why I'm telling you this story is that this was the main inspiration that reminded me of how much bamboo is used in a zoo, even here in the temperate European area. Like, basically everything that you want to hide away, just put some fountain bamboo in front of it and you're good to go. And this is why I decided to make the bamboo over here as well. Yeah, then we are building the name-giving item, so to say, for today's episode, because you've seen this is the Tasmanian Devil HUTS, and the HUTS is well, you see them in the time lapse. I haven't had that in the Speedbuild, because I did them later on, because I figured this restaurant turned out so beautifully that I wanted to. Oh, it's not really a restaurant, is it? It's like kind of a kiosk, okay? So the kiosk turned out so beautifully that I figured this could be a cool idea to play the theme throughout the Tasmanian Devil habitat, to give it a tiny bit of an extra. It's not much, you know, but it's honest. It's honest work. So yeah, my idea was to build this thing the best way possible with the pieces that we have in game, the new and the old pieces, and blend them together. You'll see a lot of struggle, and I decided to keep it in. So you see, sometimes my process of building roofs especially is very crazy. I try different designs, how they work out, and then once I figure they don't work, I completely change the direction, and I look for pieces until I'm happy. And then I figured that this very pointy bit over here, which could very well be the top part of Starship of Mr. Elon Musk and SpaceX, but only with thatch. I don't know, thatch wouldn't be potentially the best heat shielding, but whatever. Yeah, you can definitely tell that this is a good idea. I liked it, and then I figured, okay, these pieces make up for a good kind of side ring. around it, but then we were left off with some open spaces, and I couldn't really find a suitable piece that we can use for that. So I ended up using some from the old thatch pieces from the, oh yeah, I don't know if it was the tropical pack or it was the South American pack or if it was base game. Honestly, I forgot which was which. I just completely went over all the pieces and looked for the best pieces. But at the end, I found a piece that blends in very well indeed, and at the first minute I thought, okay, it's maybe not as nice, but then I found a second piece from the old thatch pack and I was like, oh, you know what, that works very well together because it has this different shading to the ground. So actually it looks almost like as if the thatch is a little bit weathered the further down you get. So maybe that's because of the rain tumbling down too much, or the sun is actually in a different angle towards these pieces, which honestly would even make sense. So yeah, it's a very weird one here, but I actually loved how this roof turned out. It looks really cool, and I did a couple of little things just to make this restaurant look good from the outside. I didn't really do much for the inside. I kept a couple of things as it being hopefully realistic, with putting like actual doors in for a backstage area, making sure that everything looks cohesive and nice, making sure that the counters over here are nicely styled with some wooden planks and stuff, just to bring a little bit of a difference in, you know. It's I think it really works out well. Put some more trees and shrubbery in to make this all feel more cozy. As I said, I will be more brave with flowers, plants and stuff in this specific area of the island, and so I did, and I think it looks beautifully. I will put even more trees down. I have a couple of ideas what can still go in, but as of now, I'm very happy with how it all turned out. So in a second, we are moving over to the little cinematic for the end. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode so far. I certainly loved making this. I really had a blast doing all of these habitats over here, honestly. But here we go. Let's have a little look. There you can see one of the huts to the left-hand side. The Tasmanian Devil is running away. The people is having a little looky look. Then we fly through here. There's another hut to the right-hand side. As you can see, it's another blend of thatch pieces and the new wooden pieces. Really nice. And as we go over this huge log, you are going to see now a double keeper action. Not sure what they did there, but whatever. So there are a couple of more huts over here in which they can go if they feel like they need some privacy. Really think this adds some value to a build like this and make sure that everything looks good. I could have done a bit more of decals to the ground, as I'm figuring now. As I said, they may require a bit more sand, but some little finishing touches at the end are kind of nice. You can see the staff door to the right hand side of the building sunken in, so it blends in seamlessly. And now we have to end the episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed this today. If you did enjoy, as always, I would be very happy if you subscribe if you haven't already, or like the video. And if you want to say anything to it, please leave a comment down below. That would help me actually a lot. But now, have a good time, stay safe, and goodbye.